welcome to my channel Code Root. In the previous video we talked about how RPCs work. Now in this video we are going to talk about the difference between REST versus GraphQL. Basically it's one of the types I was talking about in the last video as well of API. So let me share my screen and let's understand what exactly it is. Okay, so first of all let's understand the REST API. Okay, so let's say this is our client and I want to make the request, get the response from the server. So this is a client. My request will be sent to here. Let's say I want to call the service. If it is a, let's say I want to call the service user. Basically, I'm taking an example of e-commerce. If you are working using e-commerce and you want to find out the details of the user when you click on the user profile, and other is orders, your orders, your transaction history, whatever you are saying. So how the REST API works. So this is the REST API works. You call for a client, you call for the user service, user endpoint from the client, and you call for the orders uh, endpoint from the client, and you'll get the response from the server later on. According to that, you'll get the response from the server. Like this, you'll get the response from the server again back. Okay, yeah, like this. You ask for the request, the server will respond according to the service. Now, in the server, what exactly is going on? So we have a different kind of services. Basically, we have a users service as well as order service. So basically your endpoint will decide which service I want to call. It would be user service, order service, payment service. It depends on the situation we are talking about, right? So it depends on you, your endpoint, basically what kind of services you are, yeah, you want from the server to be response, in the response basically. Now there is another is GraphQL. So I'll take this exactly. This is the server. Now let's say you ask for the one service and you ask for, let's say, user service. You want user, but in this case we are not gonna call a different endpoint. We are just gonna call GraphQL, or it can be anything. We'll decide. We have to just define the GraphQL, but the thing is it should be post always. Not always, we can also get the, but it depends on the GraphQL. Now there is one endpoint for all the requests, so there is no need to worry about endpoints, different endpoints for different service. This is a server, so your GraphQL will go. Now in the post request we have to define, let's say I'm passing ID, I'm passing if I click on the profile, so I'll ask for my profile changes, so I'll ask for ID, name, my password. It can be anything. Now if I click on my order service, so there it can be a name, password, and your order ID, your transaction history, basically your transaction history. So there can be multiple things. Now your each, so yeah, one more thing, obviously, when you pass the request from the client to the server, so you'll get the response in JSON. uh, I'm assuming the little bit idea is it's a JavaScript object notation, so you'll get a object of a response in the key value pair. Now this is a, now here we get the response obviously in the JSON as well, but uh, sorry, sometimes it in JSON, sometimes it's in by JSON. So it depends on the request or the response you are getting, what kind of response you want from the server. So here we are passing only one request, one endpoint for all. So in this we are calling id name. If it is id name password, so obviously it will go by default in the user service like this. Now you'll get the response, and another is order service. So again, your server will decide which service according to your request, but your endpoint will be the same. So here the endpoint will be the same, but the here your endpoint will decide which service you want to ask for. Okay. So generally GraphQL is considered a little bit faster as compared to the rest, although both are stateless because they don't store your states. It depends on whenever you work on authentication authorization. I'll make that another video on this as well, what exactly is stateless or stateful. So yeah, that's how its service works, how these are the differences between REST and GraphQL. You can also read some other differences like REST has some their own protocols, GraphQL has their own protocols. That's a theory stuff. You wanna go out, you can check it later on. I'll give the documentation and details in my description. You can check all the details over there. And yeah, one more thing is, yeah, if you're working on a caching, so the caching is fast in case of GraphQL over to the REST. So that's it. That's all from my side for this video. uh, let's catch up in the next video.